A lot of people have neck and shoulder tightness, and they've been taught that doing this stretch is going to help them. But let's be honest, that stretch is boring, and when are we supposed to see the results? The truth is, this stretch won't help the tension and pain in your neck because it doesn't address the underlying imbalance in those areas. But good news, in this video, I'm going to quickly teach you what that imbalance is and give you 4 simple exercises to correct it. And that neck stretch we've all been taught, it's not one of them. First off, I want to help you understand why your upper trapezius muscle, that's this muscle right here, is tight and painful in the first place, and help you understand that the upper trapezius isn't the problem at all. I had a professor in school who gave us an analogy that when someone steals someone's bag, it isn't the thief that is yelling. Although the thief was the cause of the problem, it's always the victim who's making the noise. It is many times exactly that way in the body. With the tissues that are painful and tight and crying out for attention, many times those tissues, like your upper trapezius in this case, they're not actually where the problem is. And that's why directing our attention through stretching or chiropractic adjustments or massage to that area doesn't actually get lasting results. Is this sounding familiar? To understand why the upper trapezius muscle is so tight in most people, you first must understand that muscles do not work in isolation, but they work in teams with other muscles. And when one muscle is weak, its partner muscle takes up the slack by being overly tight and fatigued. And over time, this tightness and overwhelm in the muscle leads to it becoming painful. If we do not address the original muscle that was weak, we can never get a lasting solution by just trying to calm down the painful tight muscles. To help you understand that, I frequently give my patients this analogy. At your work, let's say you have a team of 6 people, and 2 of those people decide to go on vacation indefinitely to Hawaii. Sounds great. But your boss still expects your team, now with only 4 members, to get the same amount of work done, just like there were still 6 people working. How are the remaining 4 workers going to feel? I imagine that you are going to feel overwhelmed and frustrated and upset. And what if your manager told the 4 of you that are still left, that are working so hard, to just relax and to chill out, tried to massage you so you wouldn't feel so overworked? How do you think that would work? And how long do you think any improvement would last? You see, the problem is not with the 4 workers that are still working. The problem is with the 2 people that left your team and decided to take a never-ending vacation to Hawaii. If you get 6 people to do 6 people's work, everything works well. It is exactly the same way in the human body. Some of the muscles that support your head and neck are weak, and other muscles have stepped in to pick up the slack by overworking and tightening down. But no one has taught you about the weak muscles, and the weak muscles aren't painful, so they are not addressed until today. That is why no amount of stretching will give you lasting relief from your neck tension and pain. So the question is, what are those weak muscles? Well, there's a pattern that was recognized many years ago. That pattern for the upper body is called upper cross syndrome. And the cross part describes the weak structures in the front of the neck and between your shoulder blades on the back that are weak. Those are crossed with tight structures in your upper trapezius and your pectoralis muscles. The upper trapezius and pectoralis muscles are tight and painful because they are trying to make up for the weakness in the muscles in the front of your neck and between your shoulder blades. So with the exercises I'm about to show you, we're going to address strengthening the weak muscles at the same time that we address lengthening the tight and short muscles. The combination of this strengthening and stretching together is what gives us quick, lasting, and noticeable results. And make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to give you one bonus exercise I give to my patients to supercharge your results. Now to the exercises. This first exercise helps to strengthen your deep neck flexor muscles. These are the muscles that pull your head back and help you avoid anterior head carriage like that can lead to a dowager's hump. Before we get started, as with any new exercises, these exercises should never cause discomfort, and they might not be appropriate for everyone. So make sure to check in with your doc prior to starting any new program. This exercise helps to strengthen the deep neck flexor muscles. Those muscles are the ones that help to keep our head when it's out here, that help to keep it over the top of our spine, so that our muscles can relax. As you strengthen these muscles, it's fantastic. You'll start to feel taller as you go from here to here. If this exercise seems too aggressive at first, and you'll notice that in the second part that I show you, where your muscles might be ratchety, if it feels like that's too much, where we can start with this exercise, if I was sitting in my car, I could take and just bring my chin back this way and let it out. Bring my chin back this way. The important part about this is that I keep my head and eyes on the same plane. I don't want to do this. That's working totally different muscles. To work my deep neck flexor muscles, I need to pull straight back and then jut out forward, like this. When you get back against your headrest, you could take and push against there, or you can use a band to push back against. That's where I'll start someone if this first part seems too aggressive to start out with. But let me show you the one that I like to do. I'm gonna lie on my back. You can put your knees up to take a little pressure off your upper back. And then what I'm gonna do is lying on my back, I'm gonna take and first lengthen my neck. So I picked it up a little bit and I took and tried to flatten out my neck, kind of take these little bones that are at the back of your head here and send them that direction. So I'm lengthening my neck. Once I've lengthened my neck, I'm gonna keep my chin in as I slowly come up and look down towards my knees. Then I'm gonna slowly come down, keeping my chin in as I come back down. So once again, I'm gonna come up and slowly come back down. This is the opposite of this type of motion, where someone juts their chin forward. We wouldn't want to do that. That's not working your deep neck flexor muscles. So again, the important parts here are lengthening your neck first, slowly coming up, and then slowly coming back. If you notice it's ratchety on the way down, those muscles are weak. That's why we're doing this, to strengthen it. I like to do 3 sets of 10 of this exercise. Again, coming up and really slowly coming back down. Once I get there, I can relax my neck. This exercise is called Brugger's exercise, and it's amazing for firing all of the extensor muscles of your upper extremity and back. We're in a flexor dominant society. Most of the activities that we do are bringing us like this. No one ever ends up at the end of their life being too upright, but this exercise will help with that. We're going to use something called CLX band. It's a stretchy band, but it has loops in it like this. And the reason we get the maximum benefit with this is that we want to extend our fingers and our wrists. If we are grabbing something, then we're using our flexors and it kind of short circuit stuff. That being said, it's better to do this exercise with something that you have. You could use like a belt that doesn't stretch, for example. Doing this isometrically. You could use a towel, a sheet. The most important thing is just get in and do it. But what we're going to use for this is the CLX band. And I'm going to put one hand through. I like to start with the red, and you can work your way up as you get stronger to a green, a blue, that kind of thing. I'm going to put my hands through like this, one loop in the middle, and I'm going to take and extend my fingers, extend my wrists, extend my elbows, extend my shoulders and my shoulder blades, and then I'm going to open up like this. As I do this, I want to make sure that my palms face as much outward as possible, so it's actually an external rotation exercise as well. Palms facing out, bring my arms back. I'm just slowly coming back and forth like this, keeping everything extended. Again, my fingers, my wrists, my elbows, my shoulders, and my shoulder blades. I want to take and pinch between my shoulder blades like I had a piece of paper there that I was trying to pinch between them, like this. I like to do 3 sets of 10 of this exercise. And what's amazing, I find, and my patients find, is that if they'll get a piece of this, they throw it on their desk, they maybe throw it in their kitchen. While they're waiting for something to cook, they do a few of them. While they're reading an email or doing something like that, they will watching a video, they take and do a few of those Brugger exercises. And it just helps to reset your whole upper back and arms and make things feel activated again. This exercise is using a trigger point ball to get flexibility in your pectoralis muscles. You can use a softball or a tennis ball, honestly, almost anything. The benefit of using something like a trigger point ball is that your tissues will round the ball because it's hard on the inside instead of the ball collapsing underneath your tissues. But most important thing, get in and do it. So trigger point ball, what we're gonna do, simple exercise. Just gonna take the trigger point ball and roll. I like to put both hands on top of each other you're going to roll around all of your pectoralis muscle. Pectoralis muscle runs underneath your clavicle, that bone up here, down your sternum to about here, and up to the front of your shoulder. It's important in this area right here. There's a ropey structure. It's called your biceps tendon. You'll feel it. It'll feel almost like a number 2 pencil in there. You don't want to take and rub over that. It'll get irritated and upset. But everything else, really focusing on all of this here, down to your sternum, up underneath your clavicle, and really working all that tissue. I like to use both hands. I'm doing it lightly because I don't want to screw up the mic. After you've done that for a while, I like to do it for about a minute on each side. And I want to tell you, when you first start doing this exercise, it's not unusual for someone to feel really sore and achy and maybe even a little bit of pain the next day, because this muscle never really gets any attention. So I would start out slow, maybe just do 30 seconds on each side, and then slowly work up. So to take it up another level, we're going to come up next to a wall with our trigger point ball. And what we're going to do is place the ball against the wall, and then I'm going to take and gently and slowly roll back and forth. This gets a little bit more intense. Slowly roll back and forth. If I find a trigger point, an area where it feels tight or taut, then I'm just going to put my pressure and relax there. I can take and bend my knees or stand up a little bit, or take and reposition the ball to work different areas. This is a more passive way to do this, but also we can get in and get a deeper massage of the tissues. And then one last thing you can do is take, when you're in this position, when you found a trigger point, and I'm going to take, you can't see it, but I'm raising my back arm. So I'll show you facing away from you. If I'm here and I find a trigger point, then what I'm going to do is raise my arm up like this. What that allows us to do is get a pin and stretch of those tissues. This exercise helps you to gain extension back in your thoracic spine, your upper back. Most people's upper back is rounded forward like this, which sets the foundation, the thoracic spine of their neck. If we don't address this rounding in the upper back and get that flattened out, it's actually impossible for us to win at our neck and have the muscles, our upper trapezius muscles, calm down. We're going to use a foam roller to do this exercise. It can be short like this, it can be long, it can be made of foam. I really like these ones that have this polycarbonate resin on the inside because they don't break down. This is going to be your best friend, but the most important thing is that you just use it. One note before we begin this exercise. This exercise, I remember the first time I did it. It was in my late 30s, and I was in pretty good shape, and I couldn't believe how much discomfort this caused, because I had not gone into extension in my upper back in years, maybe decades. And so putting that motion back in there and regaining it, at first it caused some pain. That being said, you hear me say that these exercises shouldn't be painful. So if this feels like it is causing you discomfort or too much discomfort, check out this video up here. It is the static back exercise by Agoscu, and it's where I'll start my patients if it feels like this exercise is too much when they're starting out. It's a good way to transition up to being able to use this. What we're going to do for this exercise is lie on our back with the foam roller underneath us, and we're going to start with the foam roller in about this location. I'm going to have my knees up and my buttocks on the floor. I'm going to take my hands and not interlace them, but put them in the lower portion of my neck here just to be a support. And I'm going to keep my elbows together. If I do that, my skeleton holds me up instead of my muscles having to hold me up. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just slowly come back into extension. Right at that level, keeping my ribs down as best I can. And I'm just going to relax here for about 20 seconds. These lower ones are the ones that'll be more tender and painful. And I'm just breathing and relaxing over it. And the better you can do that, the more chance that you'll feel something release. And it's fantastic when that happens. 20 seconds or so, I'll come up, slide down to the next vertebral level. That's about an inch or an inch and a half, depending on how tall you are. Then I'm going to slowly come back into extension again. Yeah, this is one of my favorite exercises. I just love how it feels all day long. We're kind of getting pulled into our computers and our cell phones and our steering wheel and cooking and reading, all the different things that kind of have us bending over. And this is a chance for us to take and get extension back in our spine. As little kids, we used to play a lot, doing things that would cause extension on the playground and wrestling, things like that. The last place we're going to do it is about here. And so I'll just slowly relax over it. I went a little faster than I would if I wasn't leading you along in this video. I told you there was one bonus exercise I was going to give you. This one goes directly after your upper trapezius muscle to calm it down. But since now you have been addressing the other imbalances that led to that upper trapezius tightness in the first place, this exercise I'm going to show you will have a more lasting effect. For this last exercise, we're going to have to take a little bit of a field trip. What we need is a trigger point ball and a wall, and this one right here will work just fine. This exercise really takes and uses a trigger point ball to target your upper trapezius muscle. To do it, we're going to put the ball against the wall right there at the corner, and then I'm going to take and bend over at my waist, putting the ball right into my upper trapezius. I can move it back and forth, and then what I can do is move my body side to side or up and down until I find a spot, and then I can really take in this kind of lunge position and take and put a lot of pressure right into that muscle. And it's good to leave it there for 15 or 20 seconds in a trigger point if you find it, to help to elongate and lengthen that muscle. It's a great way to get flexibility back in your upper trapezius. I'm working on a new video that gives 3 more advanced exercises to help with neck pain and upper trapezius tension. They're also really helpful if someone is experiencing shoulder pain from something called shoulder impingement syndrome. I'll put a link to that video right here when I publish it to YouTube. But in the meantime, subscribe to my channel so that you will be the first one to know when that video comes out. Until next time, take care.